Sometimes I see a project someone else has done, and I think to myself, that's amazing. I wonder if I could do a version of that. I've already shown one of these in a previous video, and this other one will get its own soon enough. Seeing these ideas is usually followed by the fateful question, how hard could it be? Truth be told, since what we're going to talk about today had already been proven out by someone else and used so much off-the-shelf stuff, it really wasn't that hard. Except for the part where I cut the top of my thumb off. This is a video about copying someone else's idea and then going to the hospital because you did it so badly. And more importantly, how to avoid that. As promised in the previous video, it's a cautionary tale, more about the safety lesson than the project itself. Project-wise, we're mostly just gluing some things together in a creative fashion. Originally, I wanted to do this video around Halloween, partly because it's describing the build process for an animated skull on a platter, and partly because that's always a hotspot for people trying projects on tight deadlines, including many first-timers or people trying something they've never done before. Back in the simpler times of 2019, I was one of those people when it came to the use of a hobby knife on complex plastic shapes. I had been a subscriber to Adafruit's Adabox kits, and I enjoyed getting little projects and collections of parts that felt like a Lego set. I could choose whether to follow the suggestions or just use the parts however I wanted to make something of my own. In this case, they'd sent out this monster mask board intended mainly for costume use, and I was at a loss for what to do with it. Until I saw this post, which no longer exists. Again, I thought, oh, that looks amazing. How hard could it be? The story takes a turn here, as I just say, oh, I did what he did. I cut off the face of the skull, I glued the screens in place, and then powered it with a battery. Here it is in action, in its original form. I didn't even touch the stock software running on it. I've since given it a few upgrades. I added wireless power capabilities to it to extend its usefulness as a decoration during the Halloween season. I even got a little tray that I thought added a lot of gravitas to it. Removing the graphic from that with a little acetone was so easy that I forgot to even shoot video of the process. Even though it's just my take on someone else's idea, with parts originally built by others, I still catch myself tickled by how eerily alive it can feel sometimes. I'm very happy with the project, even though there's not too much to talk about as far as construction. As I said, the build process here is much less important than what I learned. Alright, I've teased it enough. Let's get into that. That blurry thumb could have been prevented with a simple pair of cut-proof gloves. They're a lot cheaper than I thought, and they work incredibly well. I wish I'd known that I could protect myself this cheaply and easily before taking on trying to cut through a very hard, irregular skull shape with a basic hobby knife. I have things to live for, and a cartoon skull is not one of them. That was how I learned the hard way that gloves are the way to go. And I should have known better. And that makes me want to cover some other safety tools anyone should know about when diving into these kinds of projects. For the rest, you don't have to take my word for it. I'm going to call on some of my heroes to help sell you. First up, the Craftsman. Anytime you're sanding, filing, or dealing with plastic, wear some kind of dust mask or respirator. Even if you're wet sanding, it's worth being sure you're not getting tiny bits of plastic in your lungs. Same goes for spray paint, resin casting, the list goes on. My hope is that, like me, this song gets stuck in your head every time you even think about getting particulate matter in your air. There are many possible options here, and I'll get into what to look for in just a sec. But the most important mask is the one you remember to wear. Last on my list is some kind of eye protection. I grew up watching this fine fella here say this every single episode.
But before you use any power tools, let's talk about shop safety. Be sure to read, understand, and follow all the safety rules that come with your power tools. Knowing how to use your power tools properly will greatly reduce the risk of personal injury. And remember this, there is no more important safety rule than to wear these safety glasses.
Like Norm here, I wear prescription glasses, which tends to make safety goggles very cumbersome. You can get prescription safety glasses like Norm has, but it's a bit more involved than a trip to the hardware store. You could also wear oversized safety goggles over glasses, but it's a pain. I take a different approach, a face shield. It's much more comfortable. It's easy to flip up and breathe, and I never have to adjust the straps on it. And I never smash my glasses into my face. I understand that most people don't want to spend a bunch of money to get safety equipment, but these things can be literal lifesavers, and this entire setup cost me less than the copay for my hospital visit. When you go shopping for these items, here's what I'd look for. For cut-proof gloves, look for Level 5 cut protection and ANSI 105 2016 certified. I don't know what that means in detail, but it doesn't make them cost a lot. I've tested these with just about everything short of a chainsaw. I also like that these are washable. For a dust mask, I fiddled with a lot of these and ended up with a respirator with replaceable high-quality P100 filters. So I set up the fit once and just changed the filters. You can even get an add-on valve for the front that filters what you breathe out, which makes it extra useful for high-risk situations. For a face shield, the two main things are impact resistance and a tight but comfortable fit. I like this one a lot, as it's got really good customization knobs, padding for my head, and a really good flip-up mechanism. Sometimes I forget it's even on. You want it to stay put and block sharp things headed at your face at high speed. This does those things very well. And that's it. Remember, the most important thing isn't to get the perfect gear. It's to get gear you actually use. I like for each video to have its own thank yous section, and this one is a doozy. Obviously, I have to thank fellow internet user Ian for the original idea for this project, and his encouragement of me trying it myself. I should also show a repeat appreciation for my partner Meg for driving me to the hospital with an absolute minimum of attention drawn to the incredibly stupid reason I needed to go there. The hospital staff that stitched up my thumb was also excellent. Last but certainly not least, huge thank you to some major influences on me, and I hope now on you, the Craftsman and Norm Abram. Now that we've talked about old stuff, new stuff, and dangerous stuff, I think I want to get into a favorite project category of mine, solar power. If you take nothing else from this, it should be that there's no holiday craft project so cool that you want to suffer lifelong scars from it. And there are cheap and readily available tools to help keep you safe. And all of them are much less costly than getting stitches or worse. Till next time, thanks for watching.